Judaism is one of the oldest monotheistic religions that has survived for more than 3,000 years. It is a religion that is based on the belief in one God and the adherence to a specific set of religious practices and commandments. In this essay, we will explore the fundamental beliefs of Judaism. The belief in one God, known as Yahweh or Adonai, is the cornerstone of Judaism. Jews believe that God is the creator of the universe and the ultimate source of all existence. They also believe that God is just and merciful, and that He has a plan for humanity. In Judaism, there is a strong emphasis on the importance of following the commandments and laws laid out in the Torah, the holy book of Judaism. The Torah contains the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible and outlines the laws, beliefs, and traditions of Judaism. Jews believe that the Torah was given to Moses by God on Mount Sinai and that it is the foundation of Jewish law. One of the core beliefs of Judaism is the idea of the chosen people. Jews believe that God chose them to be His people and to fulfill a special role in the world. This role involves following the commandments and spreading God's teachings to others. Another important belief in Judaism is the concept of tikkun olam, which means repairing the world. This idea emphasizes the importance of doing good deeds and helping others, as a way of improving the world and making it a better place for all. Judaism also has a strong belief in the afterlife. While the specific beliefs about the afterlife vary among different Jewish traditions, there is a general belief in the immortality of the soul and the idea that the righteous will be rewarded in the afterlife. In addition to these core beliefs, Judaism has a number of specific practices and traditions that are important to the faith. These include the observance of the Sabbath, the celebration of holidays such as Passover and Hanukkah, and the dietary laws that prohibit the consumption of certain foods, such as pork and shellfish. Overall, Judaism is a rich and complex religion that is based on a strong belief in one God and the adherence to a specific set of religious practices and commandments. The concept of the chosen people, the emphasis on repairing the world, and the belief in the afterlife are just a few of the many fundamental beliefs that are at the heart of Judaism. Continuing from our discussion of the fundamental beliefs of Judaism, it is important to understand the historical context in which this religion developed. The origins of Judaism can be traced back to the ancient Middle East, specifically to the region known as Canaan. The first person identified in the Jewish tradition as the father of the Jewish people is Abraham. According to the Bible, God made a covenant with Abraham, promising to make his descendants a great nation and to give them the land of Canaan as their homeland. Over time, Abraham's descendants, known as the Israelites, migrated to Egypt and became slaves under the rule of the pharaohs. The story of their escape from slavery, led by Moses, is one of the most well-known stories in Jewish history. The Israelites wandered in the desert for 40 years before finally settling in the land of Canaan. The period of the Judges, which lasted from the settlement of Canaan until the establishment of the monarchy, was a time of tribal leadership and conflict. The Israelites were ruled by a series of judges, including Deborah, Gideon, and Samson, who helped to unite the tribes and establish a sense of national identity. The establishment of the monarchy in Israel began with the anointing of Saul as the first king of Israel. This was followed by the reigns of David and Solomon, who are credited with expanding the kingdom and building the temple in Jerusalem. However, after the death of Solomon, the kingdom split into 2 separate entities, Israel in the north and Judah in the south. This marked the beginning of a period of political and religious turmoil, which continued for several centuries. During this time, the Jews were conquered by a number of different empires, including the Babylonians, the Persians, and the Greeks. The Babylonian exile, which began in 586 BCE, was a particularly traumatic event in Jewish history, during which the Jews were forcibly removed from their homeland and taken to Babylon. Despite these challenges, Judaism continued to evolve and adapt over time. The period of the Second Temple, which lasted from the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem until its destruction by the Romans in 70 CE, was a time of significant religious and cultural growth. The Mishnah, a collection of Jewish laws and traditions, was compiled during this time, as was the Talmud, a commentary on the Mishnah. The Jewish sects of the Pharisees, Sadducees, and Essenes also emerged during this time, each with their own interpretations of Jewish law and tradition. Continuing our exploration of Jewish history, we will now delve into the religious texts that form the foundation of Judaism, the Torah and the Talmud. The Torah is divided into 54 portions, one of which is read each week in synagogues around the world. This practice, known as the weekly Torah portion, ensures that the entire Torah is read and studied over the course of a year. In addition to the written Torah, there is also an oral tradition of Jewish law and interpretation that was passed down from generation to generation. This oral tradition was eventually written down and compiled into the Talmud. The Talmud is a massive compendium of Jewish law, tradition, and commentary, consisting of two main parts, the Mishnah and the Gemara. The Mishnah is a collection of Jewish laws and traditions that was compiled in the 2nd century CE, while the Gemara is a commentary on the Mishnah that was written over the next few centuries. The Talmud contains a wide range of discussions and debates on topics ranging from religious law to ethics to daily life. It is studied and revered by Jewish scholars and laypeople alike, and its teachings continue to shape Jewish thought and practice to this day. One of the unique aspects of the Talmud is its focus on interpretation and debate. The rabbis who wrote the Talmud did not simply provide a set of rules and regulations, but rather encouraged discussion and debate among their students and peers. This approach to learning and interpretation has had a profound impact on Jewish culture and has contributed to the development of a rich tradition of intellectual inquiry and debate within the Jewish community. As we continue our exploration of Jewish history, we will now delve into the religious practices and celebrations that are an integral part of Jewish life. From daily prayers to festive holidays, these practices and celebrations provide a way for Jews to connect with their faith and community. One of the most important aspects of Jewish religious practice is prayer. Jews are expected to pray 3 times a day, with prayers typically recited in Hebrew and focusing on themes of gratitude, humility, and redemption. The most well-known prayer in Judaism is the Shema, a declaration of faith in one God that is recited twice daily. Another important aspect of Jewish religious practice is the celebration of holidays and festivals. There are many holidays in the Jewish calendar, each with its own traditions and customs. One of the most important holidays in Judaism is Passover, which commemorates the story of the Jewish exodus from Egypt. During Passover, Jews participate in a variety of rituals and practices, including the retelling of the story of the Exodus, the eating of special foods like matzah and bitter herbs, and the recitation of prayers and blessings. Another important holiday in Judaism is Yom Kippur, also known as the Day of Atonement. On this day, Jews engage in fasting, prayer, and reflection as they seek to atone for their sins and improve themselves for the coming year. Other holidays and celebrations in Judaism include Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, Hanukkah, the Festival of Lights, and Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles. Each of these holidays has its own unique traditions and customs, but all are marked by a sense of joy, community, and connection to the Jewish faith and tradition. In addition to these holidays and religious practices, there are also many cultural and social traditions that are an integral part of Jewish life. These include the celebration of life cycle events like weddings and bar and bat mitzvahs, as well as the practice of tzedakah, or charitable giving. As we come to the end of our exploration of Jewish history and tradition, we turn our attention to the role of Judaism in the modern world and its future trajectory. Judaism has undergone many changes and adaptations over the centuries, and it continues to evolve in response to the challenges and opportunities of the modern era. Today, Jews can be found in all corners of the world, and they have made significant contributions to many fields, including science, art, politics, and more. At the same time, Judaism continues to face challenges and threats in the modern world. Anti-Semitism remains a persistent problem, with Jews facing discrimination and violence in many parts of the world. In addition, the ongoing conflict in the Middle East has had a profound impact on Jews and Jewish communities around the world. Despite these challenges, Judaism continues to play an important role in the modern world. Jewish values and ethics, such as tikkun olam, the obligation to repair the world, have inspired many people to work towards social justice and environmental sustainability. Jewish culture and tradition continue to enrich the world, from the music of Leonard Cohen to the literature of Philip Roth. In this video, we explored the rich history and tradition of Judaism. We began by examining its fundamental beliefs, including monotheism and the covenant between God and the Jewish people. We then looked at the evolution of Jewish history, from its origins in ancient times to the modern era. We also examined the key texts of Judaism, including the Torah and the Talmud, and explored how they have shaped Jewish theology and practice over the centuries. We delved into the various religious practices and observances of Judaism, including prayer, holidays, and rituals. In this video, we explored the rich history and tradition of Judaism. We began by examining its fundamental beliefs, including monotheism and the covenant between God and the Jewish people. We then looked at the evolution of Jewish history, from its origins in ancient times to the modern era. We also examined the key texts of Judaism, including the Torah and the Talmud, and explored how they have shaped Jewish theology and practice over the centuries. We delved into the various religious practices and observances of Judaism, including prayer, holidays, and rituals.